Welcome to the Actually I Can Female Entrepreneur podcast. I am your host, Kayleigh Greenacre, a business strategist, coach, TEDx speaker, author, and your go-to woman for all things business strategy. I am obsessed with supporting female entrepreneurs to grow unstoppable six and multi-six-figure businesses that they love, giving them the freedom and life that they desire. During this podcast, I'll be sharing with you everything that you need to become a successful female entrepreneur, from the mindset shifts to sales and marketing strategies and how to become an iconic leader that people can't get enough of. It is my mission to help you stand out, attract your dream clients and customers, and sell out of your offers with ease whilst building the business and life of your dreams. Let's make this your reality, ladies. Hello, ladies, and welcome to another episode of Actually I Can, the Female Entrepreneur podcast. And I'm joined today by the fabulous Nikki Antonaccio, who is a holistic women's health coach. And we are going to be diving into how your health is your next big business strategy. Nikki, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Let's start by sharing with our listeners a little bit more about you, your background and your story.
Oh, okay. So, right, where to start? I mean, I've always had a big passion for fitness, is where everything started for me. I was a professional contemporary dancer. That's where my degree is in. I did a degree in dance performance, 15, 20 years ago now, feels like forever ago. And my life up to that point, I'd led up to working in what I'd say is like high performance environments, even throughout school. So I was always in sports. I was somebody that enjoyed dance, performance, went to dance college instead of university. I was always one that kind of did things a little bit different to everybody else. But like lots of women, my relationship with health, nutrition, it really wasn't that great. I'm going to go in deep straight away. I suffered with eating disorders as long as I can remember. So being in the dance world, that got exacerbated a lot as well. A lot of my life used to be around aesthetics, I was a bodybuilder for 10 years post dancing. So once I moved from the kind of contemporary and dance and professional world, I retrained as a personal trainer, as a nutritionist. And at that same time, everything was geared towards aesthetics. And I was trying to push my own body and mindset. Again, high performance. I wanted to be the best at what I was doing. But I realized I had to do a massive dramatic shift because all the things I was doing still wasn't serving me on the inside. Yeah, it looked great and glitter and sequins and performing, but I actually had to start nourishing myself differently because my confidence was getting massively impacted, even though physically I probably looked the best I'd ever been. And that's when I started building my coaching business because I'd seen firsthand through myself and clients hustle culture. I'd left often to like women abandoning their bodies in the name of whatever success kind of looked like for them. So my journey's really been about reclaiming health physically and mentally, not just as a side note to your success, but it's like the strategy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. An incredible journey as well. And I know we were having a little bit of a chat before we jumped on and clicked record for the podcast, but it's just incredible to hear people's stories and journeys and obviously where you were and how you've developed your own business and ultimately what's inspired you to create this business as well, which I think is fascinating. So, thank you for sharing that. So we're going to dive into the whole concept of health and, nutrition and ultimately how we can utilize this as part of our business strategy as female entrepreneurs. And I think all of us will often hear health is wealth, that kind of buzzwords phrase. But in your experience as a professional, how is health actually a business strategy, especially for us as women entrepreneurs? Or how can we use it as part of our strategy?
To be honest, this is such a good question because it is one of those cliched sayings that gets thrown around loads. And when you sit down, what does that actually mean? Like, what does that mean to me? To me, this has been the foundation of all of my work. Actually, everything that's come together now, right from when I was 15, struggling with eating disorders at school, going through dance school, everything has led to this point where I kind of sat down and reflected, probably only 2 years ago, actually. And I went, well, what is health? What does it mean? And I realized that's the foundation of everything, especially for us, for women, right? So as women, often I find we're like the engine behind everything. So whether that's in business, yes, absolutely. But we are also usually the engine behind our homes. Our children, our teams, like our whole families are often engineered by the women that are in those households. So if we're run down, if we're energy, if that's suffering, if our mental health is suffering, if we're physically not fit and healthy, everything suffers. So if you look at the opposite for me, when I say like what is health is wealth, if you're energized, if you're emotionally balanced, regulated, if you're nourishing yourself physically, emotionally, I always find for me personally and the clients I work with, you make bolder decisions. You've got clearer boundaries. You stop playing so small. So like linking into your work, that's when you show up being iconic because that's the part where it's not just wellness. That's the bit that makes every decision you make bigger and bolder and more confident. That's strategy to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I completely agree as well, because just thinking, ultimately, when starting this business, working from home, just as an
Yeah.
example, I'm working from home all of the time. Yes, I go to events and things and speak at events, but other than
Yeah.
that, I'm here. I'm stationary here.
Yeah.
I'm not running around a school like I used to as an assistant teacher, chasing the naughty students around and this, that, and the
Yeah.
other. So just a really basic concept here from my own experience
Yeah.
is, ultimately getting myself up in the morning, getting my body moving, thinking about what I'm feeding my body, thinking about what I'm feeding my brain ultimately, and thinking about how can I really maximize my opportunity here? Because exactly what you said, it's so important and it's a massive driver. And I think if I were to wake up and not move my body, not, healthily eat, and, I know you're the expert in this and we can dive into this a
You're
little bit
right.
more. But I just think I'd be a bit more sluggish and I'd probably slow down and I wouldn't be as productive,
So think
right?
about it like I always think about health and well-being as like as a performance. It's a performance strategy. So if you are, we'll, again, use basic examples because they work. You imagine waking up in the morning, you grab your phone, you scroll on TikTok first thing the moment you open your eyes, you go downstairs in a rush, you therefore don't get breakfast, you caffeinate straight away and you're living off coffee all day. You don't create breaks for mental health to get outside. You're sat on a desk all day. You're not thinking about what food you're putting in your body. You grab a takeaway in the evening. You stay up too late. You drink a bottle of wine every night. Like the impact that has on how you perform, how you show up, not just for your clients and your business, but think about your children, your family, your partners as well, right? You
Yeah.
flip that. For me, health is my responsibility. I am a coach. I have a business. I have a team, a husband. I don't have children, but it's my responsibility to show up the very best version of myself, how I think, how I move, how I act. And that implicates how do I make choices around what I eat? How do I make choices around how I move my body, whether I journal, whether I do breath work, how I support my nervous system, because that means I make better decisions every day.
Yeah,
Make
absolutely.
sense?
Yeah, 100%. So,
Hmm.
as an expert, are there any common patterns or burnout cycles or mistakes even that you see female entrepreneurs making when it comes to their health and nutrition or their day-to-day routine?
Yeah, it's like the biggest, the most common mistake, I would say, and I'm going to put it in inverted commas because this is something that's unconscious because our whole life and even society, if we want to really get on a big level, has led to this. Is there's a massive pattern of overgiving and undernourishing. So not just with food is one of them, but with your time, your rest and your boundaries. So most women I know, and in myself included, operated in go, go, go settings for so long and so hard, they crash. Whether that, think again, think about whether that is in a fitness or a health perspective. How many of us have done extreme diets or something like hard 75 where people are doing 2 training sessions a day. It's a
Yeah.
short-lived thing because you can't keep that going forever. You apply that to business. How many of us have done massive launches again and again? I know you're the queen of evergreen because of this. Like we do launches over and over again and burn ourselves out. So it's not just with food and health, but it's with every element of life. Women skip meals for the sake of work, or they're over caffeinated all day. You're ignoring body signals that you're tired. And then we feel guilty because we need a break, right? So if we can shift out of that and start listening to your body's cues, fueling yourself consistently properly, and scheduling rest like you do meetings with people,
Yes.
that's the biggest thing for me. If we're overgiving and undernourishing, you can't be performing at your best, and your business can't perform at its best either.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in relation to, I know we talked sort of briefly touching on food daily nourishment, etc. And I'm always curious about this, right? Because I'm a snacker.
I love a snack. I'm going to put it out there. I love a snack.
I'm a massive snacker. I'm one of those people that I always have my breakfast. I always have cereal in the morning. And then throughout the day, in between coaching calls or podcast recordings, etc., I will pick whether it's natural yogurt and fruit or whether it's a cheeky chocolate bar from the cupboards. I'm going to be open and honest on my podcast. I'm a snacker, right? And that's kind of how I do it. I have obviously my lunch and I have my dinner later on. But when it comes to food, and I know this is going to be very different for individuals and, body types and personalities and hormones and all of the things. But as an entrepreneur, as someone who is working from home, how can we manage this and control this to make sure that it's actually benefiting us from the clarity, the decision making, again, being as productive as possible?
Yeah, so one thing, I don't think that snacking is a bad thing. That's often a misconception that gets thrown around in a fitness or nutrition world, that the key to the gates to fitness and health is not snacking. That's not true. Snacking to me is it's information. Snacking is a language. Your body is needing something. This is about actually learning to listen to what those cues are. Food is information for me. So if you think about, again, if you're undernourished, if you're trying to prevent yourself snacking and trying to resist that, your body literally perceives that as scarcity. Now that's going to bleed into everything else. That feeds fear-based thinking if you're trying to resist it. Hesitation, feeling stuck, feeling guilty, feeling shameful. That's not going to help you show up in your business as you should do, right? When we think about food specifically, one of the main things I would always promote to have sustained energy through the day is making sure your main meals through the day include protein. They're protein focused. So there's loads of layers to that. Hormonally, it helps us regulate blood sugar and blood glucose levels, which helps keep you feeling much more grounded, consistent through the day in terms of energy levels. Because when you fuel your body, your brain follows as well. You can't separate the two things. Even just stable blood sugar alone can have a massive shift in your mood, in your focus, and your self-talk. The other thing that it does, if each of your main meals, and there's a really easy way to portion size this, just use your hand. If you don't want to track calories and macro count and all that stuff because you just don't have the headspace and time for it, your hand, everybody's palm size is individual to them. So if you include a palm-sized piece of protein with each of your main meals, say breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that gives you adequate protein as a female every day. So that could be a piece of chicken, it might be a piece of steak, it might be a couple of eggs, it could be tofu, depends on how you eat. What it also does, protein-based, it helps you regulate your nervous system. So to get real deep, if you're in go settings all the time and it feels like your nervous system is in fight and flight, you're hustling hard, you're trying to get leads, clients, generate launches, and you're in those go hustle settings, one, yes, that creates burnout, but a lot of women will say to me, well, how do I stop that? It's all well and good me knowing I don't want to feel like that every day, but how do I actually impact it? And one of the easiest ways is to prioritize protein in your meals because it creates and sends neurotransmitters from your brain to your body to tell your body it's okay to slow down. So protein is one of the number one things. If you broke your day up with a palm size of protein in all three of your main meals, and then you focused on, again, what I would say is 80%, 20% whole foods, 20% soul foods. So like you literally said, if one of your snacks in a day is going to be fruit and yogurt, then damn right, one later on can be a cheeky chocolate bar. Like that's how I break my day up. Just as an example of myself, I eat 6 times a day. Three of those are meals and 3 of them are snacks because there is no way I'm going to resist those snacks because that will create overeating later on. Am I making sense?
100%. Do you know what? This is incredible. And again, for those listening, I know that everyone is different and we, absolutely, if anyone wants advice, make sure you speak to Nikki because she is incredible at what she does. But I think this is just really interesting to dive into on the podcast because there's so many misconceptions out there. I believe that we could have a conversation probably for hours on this topic, but it's really, really interesting to hear your take on that because again, we need, like you said, we need that fuel, we need that energy, and actually protein, as I know everyone, or hopefully the majority of people know, that it plays a massive part of that. So no, I really appreciate that sharing and sort of portion sizes and all sorts. I think
if someone can take away from today something that they go, what's the simple thing I need to focus on to fuel myself properly? That's the main thing. 3 portions of palm sizes of protein per day in breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you're onto a winner. You're better than 98% of the population.
Incredible. There we go. Big takeaway for everyone listening.
Mm.
I want to dive into something that I think definitely came into light for me, and when I first went full time in my business, and I'm sure that there will be many women listening that will relate to this as well. And I think when you start a business, or especially when you're in your busiest season, normally in the first year, where you're trying to build, you put your health on pause, or you delay it, or other things. It's not just health that you put on pause, you put on other things such as socializing with your friends and all sorts.
Date nights with your partner, all those kind of things.
Exactly,
Pause,
right. I think we've all put something on the back burner of some description. However, health, as we know, is the most important thing, because if we're not healthy, we cannot then be there in full health for our business to run the most successful business. So why do you think that women delay or put health on hold when it comes to building a business? And is there any way that we can reframe this narrative?
This one excites me. I've just gone all like, oh yeah. This comes from the years of experience I've got, and the people I've worked with, and what I've seen, and myself. We're taught that worth is in our output, not in our well-being. So we are taught our worth is linked to how productive we are. We've even taught ourselves this, again, from a societal perspective, how much your business is earning, how many leads you've got, what revenue you've got. When somebody says to you, what do we see online? What do we see on social media? Oh, this coach does 6-figure business owners. This coach does multiple six. We link it to our productivity. How many clients you got? How's this going for you? How busy are you? So rest can feel like laziness. And rest and well-being are two things that we put together. We think that well-being means resting, and it does, don't get me wrong. There is elements of rest that are just as important as the work. I'd also like to tell the opposite side of this same story as well, that to be healthy, you have to work at it, but it has to fit in with your business. Like, I'd love to shift the perspective for women on this, that actually, if you don't abandon your health, well-being, your business performs better, faster. I've seen this time and time again with business owners that I've worked with that are, on the surface, if you watch them on social media, they are wildly successful. We're talking millionaires here. And the thing that they struggle with behind closed doors is, because they've abandoned their health for so long, they have now become part of the machine of their business. Even if they've got team, they might have multiple team members. They are suffering behind closed doors because they abandoned their health to build their business. I always sit with those women and say, imagine where your business would be had you created and crafted space and protected space for your health and well-being. It would be 10 times what it is now. And often I think we as women perceive well-being as a indulgence, self-care as a luxury. But if we can reframe health as fuel for leadership, not luxury, when as a woman, if you see your energy, your presence, your creativity, they're business assets, right? If you think, right, what are my business assets, especially in the digital business, if that shift happens, that's when we can start realizing, actually, no, health isn't separate from success. That's the key. I need it. Because if I can shift that perspective, it stops me abandoning it. If you've got really strong boundaries around it and you're like, no, like lunchtime for me is an absolute must to down tools, get off my phone and go for a walk, get into nature, reset my nervous system, get some movement, stop being sedentary, and you come back and you've got so much more creativity and energy for your afternoons. Does that answer your question?
100%, 100%. And I think it's very easy as well as an entrepreneur. And again, I've been in this situation. I definitely used to be in this situation when I was an assistant head teacher at school, where, I mean, I didn't have lunch. Like lunch was non-existent in a school. And I know that a lot of teachers will feel that pain. But we've got lots of female entrepreneurs listening to this podcast. And I think it's quite easy, isn't it, to get into this thing of, okay, I've got a spare hour in between my clients or whatever you're doing, your projects that you're working on, etc. And I'm just gonna have, a quick snack and then, work as I go, etc. And I think you're so right in saying, one of the things I love doing on my lunch break, even if I've just got an hour or even half an hour, I get a fresh glass of water, because I'm a massive water drinker, get a fresh glass of extra cold water, and I'll go outside and I'll let my bare feet just touch the grass outside. And I honestly, every single time, especially if it's sunny, it's beautiful. Every time I step out there and I just feel some kind of, I know I'm not necessarily doing exercise, but I'm just allowing myself, my body, my soul, everything to just feel grounded and just
recalibrate again. Like, it allows you to recalibrate. And again, I just want to jump in. I know how it feels to literally be in the trenches where you do not feel you have half an hour. Like, I have been there. I'm not saying this from a place where I'm like, oh, it's fine. I've got this massive team. I've got people helping support me. I've been in the trenches when everything is on you and only on you. And that hour you are literally in that place where you're like, I have a deadline. This has to get done in this hour. Otherwise, tomorrow doesn't work. I have been there. So if you can get 2 minutes to yourself to do even what Kayleigh's just said now, cold water, get outside, stand outdoors for 30 seconds, and then reset yourself and go again. Like, I know this can sound very easy. It's easy, but it's not simple, if that makes sense. So if you can encourage when you're building or starting your business to protect boundaries around keeping pockets of space for health, I literally will put my life on it that your business will fly faster than if you build this huge thing, then you try and put it on top of it. That's when it's really difficult.
100%. 100%. I love this, honestly. So we've talked a little bit about sort of prioritizing or delaying, should we say, health, but prioritizing it's got to be one of those number one things. And the other thing I really want to touch on today is confidence, because I think to be confident, to be really confident in who you are is what I think, as an iconic leader as such, the most important thing for all female entrepreneurs, because all of us should be iconic leaders. But I think that, confidence plays a massive part of that. So let's link that back to kind of health, fitness, wellness in general.
Yeah.
How can sort of prioritizing our wellness and our health support us with feeling more confident as an iconic leader?
I love this. So this again, right up my street, is years of performance and being in front of audiences. This is something that fortunately for me personally I say it's something that's come easy. It probably hasn't when I unpack it. I've done £40,000 worth of degree education to be able to stand in front of people and feel comfortable to do it, even when I'm not confident in my body image. So this is where it links back to wellness. So body image and body confidence is huge when it comes to visibility. I speak to so many amazing, beautiful, powerful women that then they feel like they're stuck at that point where they're like, I want to show up more. I mean, I'm shy to get on stories. I don't want to show my face. I'm uncomfortable going to networking events. I don't like being on Zoom. And they shy away from visibility because they don't feel good in their bodies and their body image and body confidence, or they're running on fumes. So they don't feel that they can prioritize themselves like we were speaking about before. I think the approach that helps with that is when you reconnect with your body, when you shift away from thinking, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I should be exercising this often, I need to eat this way. When you feel grounded in your own body again and you're prioritizing, it all comes back to the same stuff, right? When you're prioritizing those foundations in place, when you can then eat well, when you can regulate your emotions, when you can sleep properly, regulate your hormones, exercise in a way that works in your life, the byproduct of that is a shift in your body image. So I hesitate to say weight loss because that's not what everybody wants. But that's when there's a shift. If you're feeling uncomfortable in how you look and feel physically, those foundational processes, protecting time around movement windows, making sure you eat regularly throughout the day, good quality nutrients 80% of the time, allowing yourself to have boundaries around your sleep time, your use of digital products, that's when those behaviours, the outcome of those behaviours will change your visibility and confidence in your body image. And it doesn't have to be the be all and end all. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have definitely been there in the past where I've been like fixated on losing a certain amount of weight or looking a certain way or being a certain dress size. And it's draining. And as a business owner and a mother and partner, you don't have the headspace for that to take up that much room in your head. So if you can link the two things, I was only thinking about this yesterday. Everything I do has a double purpose. If I'm going for a walk, not only does it help with my nervous system and mental clarity, so I've got energy when I come back to my business, but that is giving me more movement and it's keeping me less sedentary, so it's keeping me fit and healthy. The same with how I eat. So the way I choose to eat and how I eat fuels my blood sugar. It helps regulate my hormones. It will keep me in a moderate place where I stay relatively lean, so my body confidence is sky high. But it also benefits my decisions in business. Same with training. I'll go to the gym, I'll lift weights and do resistance training because, yes, of course, it helps with stress relief, it helps with mental health, it gives me a break, but it's also regulating my hormones, it's helping me feel strong, toned, and having confidence in my body as well. So if you look at your wellness habits as the outcome and the happy byproduct becomes more body confidence instead of being the only thing you're focusing on. I think it helps more women feel more confident to be seen and heard. Does that make sense?
Love that. Yeah. So kind of looking at your habits and then looking
Yeah.
at your behaviors. And like you said, I love the fact that you're saying like a dual purpose as well
Yeah.
in terms of things that you're doing. I think it's incredible advice and obviously another perspective, another way to look at it, that I'm sure everyone can
It's
kind of build in.
hopefully that's a way to help value those health and well-being habits more in business. If you're saying to yourself, the only reason I'm going to the gym is to lose weight, you're going to deprioritize that very quickly because it doesn't serve your deeper purpose, even if you are very uncomfortable in your body image, right? So when you're running a business, when you've got a family, when you've got children, when you've got a household to run, there's got to be a deeper reason. And if you're purpose for running your business is, I don't know, freedom, if it's to be able to do things with your children, etc., well then you've got to know why going to the gym and taking an hour out of my business, how on earth is that going to help with that as well? And if you can make those links, it helps you reprioritize it and protect it more.
Love that. And for anyone that's potentially listening that might be feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, even disconnected, or lacking that confidence, which you just talked about, what would be your one piece of advice that you could give them to really start to get them or start to build that confidence up and start to reconnect with their bodies?
This is going to sound really strange, and most entrepreneurs, if they're anything like I was, it's going to feel uncomfortable. But it's to pause. It's actually to stop because we are so quick to do the next strategy, the next thing, the next quick fix. Go, 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 go. I'll fix that. Pause, take a breath. Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time I ate something nourishing? When was the last time I drank some water? And when was the last time I took 5 minutes to take a break without picking my phone up to answer client messages or Slack or DMs? Then give yourself permission to start small. We're all high achievers, high performers. We want to go in big, go in hard, and do the best we possibly can do. Of course, we do. But you can't get there without allowing yourself to start where you're at and starting small. So if you're listening, feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, and disconnected, and no confidence, you have to meet yourself where you're at with acceptance. Genuinely, a walk, standing in your garden, getting some sun on your face, or one meal, one night of going to bed before midnight. Like those things are what adds up. Vibrancy, being iconic, being healthy does not come back in one day. But the moment, literally the moment you pause and start listening to yourself again, your body starts responding.
I love this advice. Because it is so easy, isn't it? It's so easy to, like you said, be on go, 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 go. I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, blah, 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 blah. Like
Yeah.
actually just pausing, stopping, reevaluating,
And that's why I
understand,
say it will
listening.
probably feel very uncomfortable for those women that are listening, that are high achievers, high performers, that are under high pressure and are feeling exhausted. There's a reason you're feeling like that because you're not pausing to catch up with yourself. Not personally. You might do it in your business. You probably sit down once a week, once a month and reflect on where the business is. But what about you?
Yeah, I love it. So for those of you listening, absolutely take on all of the advice that Nikki has given today. Nikki, where can everyone find you and connect with you?
Oh, all over social media. So I'm on Instagram. My hashtag or my handle is Nikki Antonaccio _women's health. It will be spelt in the show notes because my surname is a long one. And the same for Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn, TikTok, and there's also my website as well, which is all my name. So if you get the name spelling right, you'll find me. There's only one of me.
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely. The links and everything about Nikki is in the show notes. So go and check her out. She's incredible at what she does. Go and say hello, connect with her, ask her questions, jump into the DMs, and she is your person to go to for all things health. Health is wealth.
Thank you. Yes, it
It
is.
really is. I've got one final question for you because I ask every single guest on the podcast this question. What is your one word of the year and why?
Oh, replenish. I knew this one straight away as soon as I read some questions. So replenish is my word of not just of the year, probably of the decade. Because after years of giving, building, pushing for other things, I'm leaning into more receiving, restoring, filling my own cup first. Because when I'm full, I can give from overflow, and that changes absolutely everything in my life.
I love that. Nikki, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on to today's podcast.
Thank you, lovely.
Thanks to everyone who's tuned in to today's episode. Please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, and I'll see you all again next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Actually I Can Female Entrepreneur podcast with me, your host, Kayleigh Greenacre. If you are ready to build, grow, and scale your dream six-figure or multi-six-figure business, then head to our website now for more information or connect with me on socials to see how you can create your dream business and dream life.